Welcome and questions. Day 2. Today's agenda: facilitated school coordinator/team discussion. Component 5, procedures for discouraging problem behavior. Component 6, procedures for record keeping and decision making. Team presentations, 5-10 minutes. Next steps. Have fun. Activity number 8, facilitated coordinator/team discussion. In your VTPBIS school leadership team, your school coordinator leads discussion on VTPBIS school coordinator and team member roles and responsibilities. VTPBIS school coordinators' learning priorities and how the team can help. Review results of SET and SAS with team. Establish priorities for implementation. Complete/revisit the family engagement checklist. Write next steps into your VTPBIS implementation plan. 20 minutes. Component 5, procedures for discouraging problem behavior. Top 10 practices for preventing problem behavior. 10. PEP strategy, proximity, eye contact, privacy. 9. Engaging in classroom management self-assessment. 8. Providing instruction that meets the learning needs of students and provides a high level of engagement. 7. Designing the physical space of the classroom. 6. Classroom-wide positive expectations taught and encouraged. Prompt folks to come up with own strategies. Top 10 practices for preventing problem behavior. 5. Teaching classroom routine and cues taught and encouraged. 4. Active supervision. 3. Redirections for minor, infrequent behavior errors. 2. Frequent pre-corrections for chronic errors. 1. Ratio of 6 to 8 positive to 1 negative adult-student interaction. Prompt folks to come up with own strategies. Engage your students. http://bit.ly/1bchuj brain Stop video at 2:22 minutes. Source: Colvin, Shagai, Good, and Lee, 1997. VTPBIS Big Idea. Problem behavior in non-classroom settings, hallways, cafeteria, playground, common areas, accounts for 50% of all problem behavior in schools. Source: Colvin, Shagai, Good, and Lee, 1997. Activity. As a large group, brainstorm hotspots where problem behavior occurs in your school. Number off by 1 to 4 and go to your hotspot as a group. Brainstorm existing behavioral challenges and possible preventative solutions/strategies and record on the T-chart. Non-classroom settings only. 20 minutes. Non-classroom settings, Mann and Muscott, 2005. Non-classroom settings, Mann and Muscott, 2005. Particular times or places where supervision is emphasized. Cafeteria, hallways, playgrounds, bathrooms. Buses and bus loading zones, parking lots. Study halls, library, free time. Assemblies, sporting events, dances. Where instruction is not typically available. Where ratio of adults to students is typically lower than in classrooms, lightly staffed. Where supervision is typically shared or staffed by non-certified staff. Hallway expectations at a middle school. Active supervision by adults, Mann and Muscott, 2005. Active supervision is a critical yet underutilized skill by adults in non-classroom settings. Involves 3 sub-skills: scan, move, interact. Scan, visually examine the entire environment, frequently noticing both appropriate and problem behavior. Move, physically move around the entire area in an unpredictable pattern while visiting the problem areas frequently. Interact, Elicit conversations with most of the students while providing pre-corrections and reminders as well as positive acknowledgements. Refer to tips. Refer to Brandy. Insert video. How do you know you're using good prevention practices? Use classroom management self-assessment and non-classroom management self-assessment tools to strengthen your practices. See handout. Handout is a great tool for staff to assess their own classroom and non-classroom management strategies. Defining and sorting problem behaviors. Minors. Majors. Behaviors that do not require administrator involvement, do not significantly violate rights of others, do not put others at risk or harm, are not chronic. Behaviors that are chronic minors and may require administrator involvement, significantly violate rights of others, put others at risk or harm. This is a conversation you want to have with your entire staff so everyone is on the same page with minors versus majors. Middle school example: major behaviors, minor behaviors. Chronic absence/tardy. Insubordination. Chronic minors. Repeated backtalk. 3. Directed profanity. Cutting class/school/detention. Fighting. Vandalism. Verbal/physical intimidation. Gang representation. Theft. Weapons, threats. Drug violations. Harassment, including sexual. Controlled substances. Minor behaviors. Excessive talking. Attendance/tardy. Off-task, disruptive. Gum/food/candy/drinks. Missing homework. Not prepared for class. Name-calling. Dishonesty. Running in hall. Passing notes. Backtalk directed at adults. Cheating/plagiarism. Defining close confusers. Practice defining major versus minor behaviors that are close confusers to your staff. Versus. Many schools struggle with words such as damn or suck. Majors versus minors. The first grade class writes in a journal. The topic focuses on a particular letter each day. During the letter F day, Sarah writes an inappropriate word she has learned from some older students on the playground. She shows her journal to all of the students around her. Verbal minor, think about intention as well. Majors versus minors. The bus driver hears James call another student a at %, loudmouth. Verbal major, activity number 12, developing a shared understanding of minors and majors. In your teams, brainstorm a list of 5 major problem behaviors and think of different ways to characterize the behaviors. Hat wearing. Review the SWIS referral form definitions found at http://www.bisvermont.org/resources/schools/universal examples under Component 5 and come to agreement about your list of minor and major behavior problems. Record your agreed-upon minors and majors on your T-chart found in your workbook. Identify close confusers and plan to operationally define with school staff. Insert ODR form. Practices to prevent minor problem behaviors from escalating. De-escalation. When student shows anxiety. Be supportive. What does anxiety look like? What can adults do to be supportive? When student is defensive, be directive. What does defensive behavior look like? What can adults do to be directive? Similar concepts to those of you who've taken CPI. Practices for responding to minor problem behaviors. Example: signal that expectation has not been met, state the expected behavior. Ask student to show expected behavior, give positive feedback. More practices for responding to minor problem behaviors. Use scripts to help set limits. What are you doing? Objectively describes the rule-breaking behavior. What are you supposed to be doing? Clarifies that the student knows what behavior or task is expected. What are you going to do? The student makes a choice communicated by either words or actions. You could also say, what can I do to help you make a good choice? Activity practices to prevent and respond to minor problem behaviors. As a team, discuss classroom and school-wide practices that currently exist to prevent and respond to minor problem behaviors. What additional effective practices are needed? How will you work with your staff to develop these classroom and school-wide practices? 10 minutes. Continuum of procedures for responding to problem behaviors. Continuum of procedures for responding to problem behaviors. Utilize effective classroom prevention and response practices. If minor problem behavior, document. If major problem behavior, initiate referral out of classroom, to planning room or office. How might this look different in a non-classroom setting? Example 1. Example 2, no. Is the incident major? Yes. Second offense. Fourth offense. Example 2. No. Is the incident major? Yes. Second offense. Same behavior. Complete. Tracking form. Intervention. Behavior. Ceases. No further action. Write referral. Attach minor incident forms if applicable. Send the student with a referral to room 1. Fourth offense. Follow. Referral. Procedure. A. Copy of referral and/or letter sent to the parent. B. School retains copies. C. Copy of referral to, how given to teacher. Teacher for files. When. Time frame. Administration determines course of action or consequences. Third offense. Contact parent. Verbal warning. Restate. Expectation/rule. Example 3. Example 4. Continuum of procedures for responding to a crisis. http://education.vermont.gov/new/html/resources/model_crisis_guide.html. The Vermont School Crisis Planning Team recommends that a simple crisis command placard be prominently placed in all teaching spaces that direct teachers, staff, and students about how to respond to each of the simplified emergency commands. In addition to having consistency around responding to problem behavior, it's equally important to be consistent on how to respond to a crisis situation. This is also a question on the set. Example placard: classroom crisis commands: clear the halls dash. Go to closest room supervised by an adult. Close door, lock if possible. Students and staff remain away from doors and windows. Turn off lights and shut curtains/blinds on doors and windows, if available. Use classroom intercom or phone only for emergencies. Secure the school dash. Same as clear the halls. Go to closest room supervised by an adult. Close door, lock if possible. Students and staff remain away from doors and windows. Turn off lights and shut curtains/blinds on doors and windows, if available. Designated staff secure outside doors. Students outdoors move away from building. Use classroom intercom or phone only for emergencies. Evacuate the building. Insert classroom exit directions here, in an orderly fashion. Exit the building with class roster. Teacher takes attendance. With assigned students. Move to the _relocation site when directed. We recommend that all rooms have something similar posted near the door with the appropriate crisis commands listed. School Safety Review Checklist. For further information visit the DOE website. http://education.vermont.gov/new/html/pgm_safeschools/pubs.html/safety_checklist. Set components. Section A, Expectations defines. Section B, Behavioral expectations taught. Section C, Ongoing system for rewarding behavioral expectations. Section D, System for responding to behavioral violations. Section E, Monitoring and evaluation. Section F, Leadership. Set components. Activity number 13, Procedures for discouraging problem behaviors. In your team, review the example procedural flowchart in your workbook. Create your own procedural flowchart. In your team, discuss your crisis plan. Determine next steps, if needed. Component 6, Procedures for record keeping and decision making. Recording problem behaviors. Why keep a record? To see if there are patterns. To determine if students' problem behaviors are habitual. To document pre-referral interventions. To determine whether a particular teacher needs support. To communicate with parents and answer questions. To inform behavior support planning. To inform interagency collaboration. To comply with legal requirements. Recording problem behaviors. It is not for writing up a student as a form of punishment. It is a way to collect data for decision making, information to record name, grade, respondent, date, time, location. Type of behavior. Others involved. Possible motivation. Which school-wide behavioral expectation was not met? Example 1. Example 2. Handouts are compatible ODR as another example. Example 3. Handouts are compatible ODR as another example. School-wide information system www.pbisapps.org. Swiss demo. School-wide information system www.pbisapps.org. Activity number 14, Office Discipline Referral, ODR. Create your school's Office Discipline Referral. Compare your current ODR form with sample ODR forms found in your implementation. Revise, as needed, or draft a new ODR form for your school. Complete the Swiss compatibility checklist to ensure inclusion of necessary information found in your workbook. Complete the Swiss readiness checklist found in your workbook. Verify readiness with coach or state TA and register for Swiss training. Hand out Swiss registration flyer. Lunch. Component 6, Procedures for record keeping and decision making. Team-initiated problem-solving, TIPS. Collect and use data. Review status and identify problems. Develop, refine hypotheses. Discuss and select solutions. Develop and implement action plan. Evaluate and revise problem-solving meeting foundations. Team-initiated problem-solving, TIPS, model. The outer circle, Problem-solving meeting foundations refer to the process and procedures and team uses to function. Roles are determined and defined, meetings are scheduled for the year, electronic equipment and internet access are available, and an agenda is established. The inner circles and arrows define a problem-solving model designed to improve the decision-making and problem-solving of PBIS team. This model is called TIPS, which stands for Team-Initiated Problem-Solving. The model uses data for during problem-solving and decision-making, during meetings. We will also apply a metric for determining if rates of problem behavior at a school are below, at, or above the national average to determine if there is a problem or not. TIPS teaches teams to use their SWIS data to define precision problem statements. Once the problem statement is precise, a variety of solutions are discussed based on prevention, teaching, reward, correction and extinction, and teams will determine which solutions they want to implement. The TIPS model then moves the team to action planning, evaluation and measurement determination. We are finding it more difficult to use these skills in the real context. The purpose of this session is to build the skills and build the fluency of using those skills. Want to learn more? 2 opportunities. Recorded webinar at https://vimeo.com/user181757886/videos. Coaches. Plan for rollout. Communication is key. PBIS rollout for staff. What is it? When? Agenda. Materials. Responsible team members. During pre-service if you are planning to roll out in the fall. PBIS rollout for students. What is it? When should it take place? How to prepare for it. What to cover. Related activities. How often to revisit. Responsible team members. Use technology to spice this up. Example, one school used Miley Cyrus singing Respect on YouTube and had this playing in the gym as student-centered. PBIS rollout for families. Objectives. Communicate the goals of PBIS. Explain how you will use PBIS to create social culture. Enlist parents to be partners. Examples. Open house events. Football game that many parents will attend. In the newsletter. Ways to communicate PBIS to families. Letter and packet. General presentation at back-to-school event. Review by classroom teachers. Trifold brochure. Information on website. PTA presentation. Newsletter. Homework assignment for students to teach parents expectations. Activity number 15, planning staff rollout. As a team, design your PBIS rollout for all staff at your school, specials, lunchroom, instructional assistants, bus drivers, etc. Use workbook staff rollout worksheet. Rollout should take place at the beginning of each school and offer various refreshers throughout the year. Activity number 16, planning for student rollout. As a team, plan out when, where and how you will roll out your PBIS program for the students at your school. Include dates and format for revisiting the plan with all students. Use workbook student rollout worksheet. Activity number 17, planning PBIS rollout for families. As a team, plan out when, where and how you will roll out your PBIS program for parents. Use workbook rollout worksheet. Activity number 18, completion of PBIS implementation plan, in back of your workbook. As a team, list all tasks and projects that still need to be finished. Turn in a copy of your implementation plan before you leave. Or email it to ann.w@uvm.edu. Team presentations. Where do we go from here? Thoughts and/or questions? Swiss trainings. Post-implementation set. Support available. Grad course. VT's statewide structure of support. Level. How is support provided? Who is supported? State technical assistance, state TAs. Info dissemination. Funding. TA/coaching to SUS. Regional meetings. Trainings. SU/district coordinators and SU/district leadership teams. Implementation coaches, for some schools. Coaching to SUS and schools. SU/district coordinators, school coordinator, and building teams. SU/district coordinator. Coaching to schools. Visibility and political support. Resources. School coordinator and building teams. School coordinator and school leadership teams. Implementation of evidence-based practices. Staff, students, and families. Remind them of the intent to implement application, in particular the partnership agreement. Outlines this on next slide. The elements necessary to sustain PBIS include: data. Communicate. 1. Data. The school completes annual assessments, SAS and annual BOC. The school also collects discipline data and uses it to problem solve and maintains an annual PBIS action plan. 2. Communication. A school initiates at least bi-monthly contact with their implementation coach or their state TA. The schools communicates regularly with its supervisory union/district coordinator and/or sends progress reports to the superintendent at least twice a year. 3. Participation. A school participates in at least 3 of the 4 regional coordinators' meetings and provides opportunities for all staff to participate in progress updates and problem solving at least 3 times a year. 4. Training/information sharing. The school actively works toward fidelity of implementation at all tiers. Share information. Participate. Next steps and important dates. State TA contact. Swiss training webinar. View recorded webinar available June 1st. PBIS training calendar and resources, www.pbisvermont.org. Coordinators as Coaches Learning and Networking Series. Stay tuned. PBIS newsletters. PBIS Pinterest. Questions? Contact your state TA. Cassandra Townsend. Josh Soler. Sherry Schoenberg. Tracy Harris. Ken Kramerberg. Richard Boltax. Visit www.pbisvermont.org.